here. Stuff I don't want is in the way. Okay. Did I do it? I did. All right. Here's a Cointelegraph. I haven't shown Cointelegraph for a while, and I really recommend people read this stuff because you want to keep up on what's going on. Kind of balance the negative with the positive. You know, there's just so much more positive coming out. It's just amazing. Just look at these little headlines right here. Over on the right, the IMF says crypto does not pose risks to global finance. Remember, the banks were saying this was going to be a problem. Well, it is going to be a problem, but they're putting a sunshiny face on it. South Korean central bank crypto and blockchain to provide cash-free society. Crypto UK Trade Association calls on MPs to regulate cryptocurrency sector in UK. Not likely. It's kind of funny. I really recommend reading this stuff just because you want to see the balance and the flow of what they're talking about and what's being said. The more they talk about it, the more people find out about it. And it's stuff that you're going to see, and you're going to see more positive coming out of here than negative, because they simply are going to have to go along with the program, no matter what the states want to do. This is not, made by the governments. It isn't produced or controlled by the governments, and there's no way they can control it. They're going to have to go along with what the people want. Ron Paul said that in order to get control of our financial system, we didn't really have to get rid of it. All we had to do is give people a currency and let them choose which one they want to use. Well, Satoshi Nakamoto did that for us, and it's fantastic. Now, just to prove the point here that these guys talk out of both sides of their mouth, you got to take a look at who's doing what with the money and where they're putting it. Right now, it seems to be they're putting it all behind blockchain technology and Bitcoin. Now, be careful, because they try to confuse you. They say blockchain technology is Bitcoin, Bitcoin is blockchain technology. It is not. It's also not a digital coin. We use cryptography. That means that the Bitcoin cannot be copied, it can't be duplicated, it can't be counterfeited, and there is a maximum number of them hard-coded in the system, and there will be there won't be any more of the main Bitcoin thing. And here's Richard Branson. He's investing in it for business purposes. That's cool. Now, what the National Association of Dealers, security dealers, is doing in there, I don't really know, unless they want to get rid of licensing programs. But just the biggest people, the biggest banks are getting into here. Look at this: Wells Fargo, there you go, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Thomson Reuters, all these people. And the more you look, the more you see of who's going on. I don't know all these companies, but I don't need to. All I need to know is how much money is going into it. The only thing I ever really wanted to know in terms of public investments was always one question: was money flowing into it, or was money flowing out of it? And as you can see here, this is an amazing flow of money into something. That means you got to know about it, because if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss something. In 2012, it was $2 million was being invested in this territory right here, even though the coin came out in 2009. By the middle of July of 17, it was 1.8 billion. And it's even more than that now. It's probably more, almost double that. It's so much so that they're not publishing these records anymore. And I wonder why. They think maybe we'll get an idea that there's something going on here. And we know there's something going on. Now, this is the best way to prove to people that this is not scammy, because the mainstream media kind of puts out the idea that there's something scammy going on here. Well, it can't be. Not if the federal government approves of Bitcoin. By the way, Bitcoin's not illegal, never has been illegal, and won't be illegal, no matter how they try to paint it. If you're going to put your Bitcoin inside of an IRA and a 401k, it belongs to the government. This is a government program that they're giving to you for your benefit. Now, the IRA and 401k are creatures that were created by legislation. So whatever they give, they can take away. What they do here is they put a trustee between you and your funds so that you can't easily get them out without them knowing about it. Now, what you have to do, though, is give up control of your Bitcoin. There are two keys. There's a public key and a private key. And when you put your Bitcoin in these programs, you have to give up both keys. That means you don't control it and you don't own it. They do. So if they change the rules on you, or all of a sudden they decide that they're not going to give it to you, they don't have to. However, in terms of what's going on in the public sector on pensions are failing over there. Look what Barron says about it. It says Bitcoin is a red hot asset that's now being used as a retirement investment. Ta-da! Proof again. Why would they say that if it wasn't a good deal? They don't say that about all the scammy deals out there. The world's hottest asset is the newest way to invest for retirement, says the Wall Street Journal. Two of the top worldwide most respected financial journals in the world. That's what they're saying. And so you need to take a good look at that. And seriously, you should talk to people that are nearing retirement or have public pensions, because they're probably not going to get them unless they do something to protect themselves. Because you can't look at a $20 trillion deficit, a $200 trillion unfunded mandates, that's Social Security, that's Medicare, Medicaid, all the public social programs. They don't have the money to pay this stuff. I mean, they borrowed us and borrowed us and borrowed us and extended it for so long. Nobody has the way to do that. It's a massive amount of debt. So you just have to kind of be careful with what you're doing. The other thing we want to do is we really want to prove that we're real. Now, the last 24 hours, Big Club mining has been going up. It's at 3.9% of the pools, of the world pool. All of these miners over here are Chinese miners. You guys can't get into those. We can't get into those, although we work with them, because Bitfury is our partner for the chips, and Antpool is our partner for the box. They make the Ant miner. And so we buy everything that they produce. Now, we're kind of getting bigger than them, and they don't really like that, and they've been slowing down delivering our machines and equipment, even though we pay a year in advance for it. We also don't pay street prices either, because we're buying in such large quantities. We get them at substantially reduced prices that other people can't get. So now what you want to do is you want to go down here. Well, as an added note, just a minute, I forgot to tell you, if somebody says they're mining and you're looking at a little investment program that's supposedly around cryptos and Bitcoin, and they say they're mining, you really got to question it if their name isn't here. If their company name is not here, that means that they don't own their own machines. Big Club owns everything, and it's fully paid for. There's no debt. They may be mining. They may have a little old machine set up in a back room someplace, and they may turn it on once in a while, but what you got to do is you have to get into their books. You've got to get into the blockchain. And if they say that they're mining this stuff, there is a blockchain and there's a permanent record. That's the purpose of it. It's to prove the transactions. So all you have to do is get them to show you what I'm going to show you right now. So we scroll down here on the page, if the computer will cooperate here. Come on. What is the problem? Doesn't want to go. All right, click on the company name or the organization, whatever it is. We're not really a company. And it'll take you to the last block that was mined. And then you click on that block and it opens up the transaction and you get to see exactly what transpired. So in the last block that was won by the Big Club, there were 745 transactions in there. And there were some transaction fees of about $730 a transaction fee. Approximately maybe $1 a transaction. That's not bad. Pretty good, actually. And there was $112,000 worth of Bitcoin there. That's 12.5, by the way. We know that that's what it is today because it cuts in half, and we know exactly what the block award is. Now, it doesn't seem like much right now compared to what it was back in December of 17 when it was $20,000 a coin, because it's priced at market value, whatever it is. But that's 12.5 Bitcoin, and that's a lot of moolah. Now, what this is it's just newly created coins. See, it's not coming from someplace else. Other people will be getting all of their coins from someplace else. We actually create the coins. So it goes in their wallet. It doesn't have any other place to go. And then you're going to see that there's $647 million worth of Bitcoin that's been distributed. And that's at today's price. Now remember, it was back up almost $20,000 recently, and it's headed back up there now. Every year it goes through this correction process. So now the people in the Big Club have $137 million sitting in there. They could take out at any moment. It has no effect on mining and what we're doing here at all. But how do you prove really that we're doing this, and we say we're doing it every day? You click on the little number and you change it to Bitcoin. See, this number goes up every single day. That's proof that we're actually mining and generating new coin. So they have mined 71,787 Bitcoins, which have all been distributed without fees and extra charges, just to the member owners. Because when you have machines in here, you are an owner. Now, final balance, 15,245 Bitcoins are being held by the members in their accounts. Very safe place to keep it. So why not leave it in here? They pay professional hackers to hack them all constantly 24/7, and so far they haven't been able to do it. So it's a very safe place to keep it. I'll come back to this a little bit later, so let's get on with our presentation. This is our masthead. Kathy and I are trying to support a team. We're not really looking to promote ourselves and to bring people on direct anymore. We're trying to help all the people that have come to us already get started, get established, and help them build their teams. And to do that, you need a central point, somebody to explain it. And that's kind of the thing that we're functioning here, kind of function as a clearinghouse. Here's our YouTube channel. We highly recommend you have people go over there and look at the recordings that we do and some of the other things that we put up. And send them to joinbitcoinclub.com. joinbitcoinclub.com. That's a website. There's no capture there. It's just information. Let them take a look at their videos that we put over there. They're very good. Also, if you have a question or somebody needs to contact us, they can get us on Skype, but we're going to want to know who referred you. That's not an optional question. People come to us by referral from other people, and if we need to help with answering some questions, we're willing to do that. But we do need to know who referred you. Now, BitClub Network Global Leaders is our Facebook page. If you're already with us now, go over there and bring in your family and friends and let them come in as a guest. That's perfectly fine, but what we want you to do is you add them as a member so that your name is attached to it. If they need something, want something, ask a question, your name, we go to the members list, your name says, John Jones brought in Mary Sue, and we just get them back to you. How's that for a rhyme? Okay. We make every effort to ensure that we accurately represent the products and services of BitClub and the potential for economic gain. Earnings or Bitcoin cash flow statements made by the company or members are estimates of what you can possibly receive. Sometimes people embellish a little bit now and then, don't you think? There is no guarantee that you will make these levels of Bitcoin, and you accept the risk that the earnings and Bitcoin income possibilities differ by individual. The examples are not to be interpreted as any guarantee, promise, representation, or assurance. I think I got enough words in there like that. We do not purport BitClub as being a get-rich-quick scheme. It isn't. You got to work for it. Although the machines do all the work, but you got to, pat them on the head now and then. All right, Bitcoin was the first global digital currency that was created in 2008 on a white paper by Satoshi Nakamoto. And 2009, the first transaction occurred when he said he was hungry and wanted some pizzas. If somebody would send him some pizzas, he'd give him 10,000 Bitcoin. They did. He gave the Bitcoin back. And that's what, worth $4 million, something like that now. It's sent directly person to person. We don't go through a bank. There's no need for a bank because the blockchain itself, the record, the ledger itself, records the transaction, and that's what the miners do. And we're going to talk about what miners are in a minute. Bitcoin's safe, it's fast, and it's fairly anonymous because we don't use English words. We use computer names, numbers, zeros, digits, alphanumeric. But don't think that you can't be found if you're doing something nefarious. I mean, that's why there's nothing going on here. It is traceable. Anyone can set up a Bitcoin account. There's no age because this isn't money. Money is something that's issued and it is controlled and governed by an institution, and this is not that. Because there's no banking rules here. Kids set up accounts all the time. They just download a wallet and get started. They can buy Bitcoin with their allowance, right? No fees, chargebacks, and no borders. And that's very important because it makes a big difference for people around the world that we can all use one currency for a world currency. Now, who uses Bitcoin? Well, these are the companies that kind of pioneered the use of Bitcoin publicly. Overstock was the first, but right now it's getting to the point where you just need to ask them if they'll take Bitcoin. It's becoming so aware, and you never know. People that you didn't think would take it will take it. In 2014, there were $54 billion in fees paid for money being moved around the planet by people. Companies paying their people, family, friends, just whatever you can think of. And it was all handled by PayPal, Citibank, MoneyGram, things like that, Western Union. And they charge a lot of money for that. Well, that $54 billion is going to stay in our pocket. We don't really need those guys anymore. We can send a coin anywhere on the face of the earth at very, very little cost. Now, you may need a debit card or something in order to use your coins, and you can get them right here. BitPay is one, the popular one. It's a Visa. Zappo is another popular one. Some of them, like BitPay, they convert it directly from the coin. They convert it to cash, and then they put it on the card. Zappo doesn't do it that way. Zappo puts the coins on the card, and they don't do the conversion until you actually use it. You might be in a different country, so you might be doing it in pesos or something else. It matters. There are tax consequences sometimes of those things. Now, here's basically how it works. Now, we're a miner, and what's a miner? A miner is nothing more than a computer organization. They got a lot of computers, and what they really do is they process the transactions, and they confirm the network. That's called securing the network because they're verifying all the transactions. And the computers are kind of like, I don't know, think of a party line where everybody's talking at one time. they're gossiping with one another, all exchanging information and data. Oh, did you know computer so-and-so got this? They sent me this, and they sent me this, and I sent it over there. That's the kind of thing they do. And whenever they find a transaction that doesn't agree with all the others, it's a bad transaction, and they get rid of it, right? That's what they do. So they constantly are doing this every 10 minutes. They're constantly doing this, processing transactions and securing them into the blockchain. And this is kind of like a little war. All these miners are fighting with one another. So you got to have the biggest, baddest, fastest computers in order to be able to process these transactions and win that award. So it's an adversarial kind of a program, which is kind of cool. Now, when they first started, they had to have a way to entice these people to set up these companies because there wasn't a lot of money in it. Mainly the techie guys were doing all the mining process themselves. And they needed to expand it around the world if it was going to work as a currency. So they gave everybody 50 Bitcoin at the time when they won a block. That's every 10 minutes, and they were kind of getting the Bitcoin out there. So after the fourth year, it cut in half to 25 Bitcoin. And now in July of 2016, it cut in half to 12.5 Bitcoin. That's why that 12.5 number was on that transaction. When they won the block, that was the award that they received. Now the black line shows the adoption of Bitcoin, and as it goes up, more people want to use it, but there's not a lot of Bitcoin to go around, right? So it's scarce. Scarcity is what creates the values. More and more people want to use it. It becomes more and more popular. People will pay more for it. All right. Now, the gold line represents the slowing release. 50 coins, 25 coins, 12.5 coins. The final coin will be 2140. That's quite a ways out. I'll be 192 years old at that point, and you can do the math for yourself. But the point is that it's not like fiat currency. The 21 million coins represents 21 tons of gold on the planet, which we now know is not true because they found some fantastic finds over in China. But some people say 21 million coins, that's not going to be enough for people. Well, it is when you understand that you can divide each coin by 100 million parts, a microbit. It's called a Satoshi. And if you multiply those two together, that's 21 trillion Bitcoins available. Little pieces, microbits. There aren't even a trillion people on the planet. You understand? There's more than enough coin to go around. It's going to work just fine. But we don't think most people are going to be spending a lot of it. They're probably going to use other coins to do that because this is so valuable, because it is limited and it can't be changed and it can't be modified and it can't be copied. So once you have a Bitcoin, you have a Bitcoin, and people are actually taking it, putting it in their secure wallets, taking it offline, putting it in a safe, and just put it away and just hang on to it. That's exactly why it's called Gold 2. Right now, you can buy approximately 8 ounces of gold for every Bitcoin. Yeah, it's phenomenal, right? I want Bitcoin. I used to be a gold bug, silver bug, not anymore. We'll talk about that in a minute. What's so cool about the Bit Club? What they did is they set up a system where you paid one time, and you didn't have to ever come out of your pocket again, and you can mine forever, perpetuity. Now, what are the alternatives? There's only 2 other things they can do. You can go buy a machine yourself, cost you about $1,000. You got to pay for the electricity. You got to keep that machine cool so it stays efficient. That costs money. And the problem is that it goes out of date because the math gets more difficult, constantly gets more difficult, requiring faster and faster computers. These computers right now have to do 3.8 trillion calculations per second. And if you got a little old IBM machine when it first came out, and you're still using those dual floppies with that green screen, it ain't going to run Facebook, right? It's not going to work here either. So the other method was a cloud mining. Cloud mining is where a company buys a bunch of computers and sells you time on them. It's going to mine for you for a certain period of time. It's also going to mine for you at a specific hash rate. That's the speed with which it does the calculations. Now, when that is over, you've got to re-enter into those contracts. It's not going to continue. You're going to get back in at the same price. I mean, is it going to be a good deal or bad deal? They're really affected by the price of the coin, unlike we are not. And that's what makes us so good. Is this effective? Yes. Started in October of 2014. We now have somewhere between 800,000 and 1 million users, contracts. We have bringing on about 8,000 people a day. I would say it's phenomenally successful. The other thing is you can't get in those other mining pools, right? And here you pay one time for your pools. It's got a very low entry point. It starts low so everybody can get in. but it builds and it builds and it builds. And the more you understand how this works, you're going to love every minute of it. Now, when it starts mining and you first buy your share, your initial shares, you get 1,000 days of mining for that share price. Used to be 600, we moved it to 1,000. Now, during that year, when you mine Bitcoin, the coin comes in, we have developed something called a partial share, a repurchase arrangement. And that's where when you get a partial share, and it's defined this way, 5% of a pool value. So if it's $500 for the pool, 5% of that's $25. So whenever your machines mine $25 worth of Bitcoin, you have a decision to make. You can either take that and put it in a save to spend account, or what you can do is you can buy a partial share. That's equal to 5% of the value of the pool. And that actually mines for you too. So now you've got one share plus 5%, right? Okay, what happens is as soon as you get 20 of those partial shares, that's a whole full share you got. So in the first year, you're mining the one share. By the second year, you're mining the 2 shares, at least 2 shares. And those 2 shares will generate a third share in half the time it took to get the first share. And those 3 shares will generate a fourth share in even faster amount of time. And by the time you get to 5 shares, it's off the charts. It just, the compounding just begins to really ramp up, right? But if we had to charge you for 5 shares coming in, a lot of people couldn't get in. It'd be very hard. We don't want to do that. Now, you can also augment it because of the compensation plan. We'll go into that a little bit later, not maybe right now, but maybe in the training afterward, okay? Anyway, that's pretty much it. Now, the alternatives are you could take that $3,600 to get into the founder position. That's a membership fee plus $3,500 for all 3 Bitcoin pools. Go buy some stocks with it. Stocks are on a downtrend right now. You know, they go up and they go down. It's kind of manipulated. Go read a little book called Common Sense Investing by John Bogle, the guy that started the Vanguard no-load mutual funds, which was history in the making because everything prior to that was a load fund. He'll tell you about what goes on in the stock market, how things happen. It's not all nice and clean and easy. And a lot of times you never really know what you're paying for. Plus, it's kind of manipulated by the bankers. You got to realize that controlling that interest rate really has a lot to do with the business cycle. Remember why we had a Federal Reserve started? To even out the business cycle so we wouldn't have crashes. Except the bankers got more control. The more control they got, the more crashes we've had. Bernanke finally admitted that the crash of 1929 was caused by the Federal Reserve. Now, you can also try your hand at day trading, or you can trade if you know any kind of money currency program out there. Not for me. I don't want to sit at a computer all day long, and it takes a long time to learn, and people will really lose a lot of money up front. And so a lot of people just can't stay with it. Overall, the majority of people lose money. Very few are really good at it and can do it. So that's not for me. I don't want to do that. Now, gold and silver, that's old technology. Listen, everybody has got to be ready to take an extended vacation at a moment's notice. Now, what are you going to do? Carry your gold and silver around? Have you ever picked up $5,000 worth of silver? It's like carrying a small kid around with you. You know, if you got to run someplace, you want to get away from a fire, you need to move out of the area because of some hazard shows up, hurricane shows up, earthquake shows up, fire shows up, mudslides show up, you know, whatever it is, you're not going to be able to hustle that stuff around with you. But see, the neat thing about the Bitcoin is that nobody can see it. And they're not going to question your debit cards or your credit cards. They're not going to question your Bitcoin status because it's not really available. So the newer technology is much easier to do that. You take your money with you. As long as you have an internet connection, you've got a Swiss bank in your pocket and you can do anything you want that a bank can do. Now, some people say, well, why don't I just buy Bitcoin? Okay, it's great. I'm not going to tell you no. I think it's fantastic. But the thing is there's 2 things that happen with it. One is that you're going to see the price go up to stratospheric numbers. I mean, just way beyond historical norms. You know, 500,000, 800,000, something right, you know, just way up there. And you're going to sell the coin. But see, when you do that, you're going to be real happy about it. You're going to enjoy it, but you're out. You can't get back in. Coins cost too much. Well, when you get older, you tend to hang on to things. You don't want to spend them because you can't get any more. And you never know if you're going to need it for some special reason. You know, you got kids, the kids might need money for some reason. We might get sick. We might need this or that. You don't know. So you die and then the kids go take the vacations and, you know, remodel the house. Re-landscape the yard, put a pool in. All the things you should have been doing with your coin, right? What's the answer? The answer is to get the goose that lays the golden egg, the mine. It pays you every single day. Never quits, won't take a break. You can tell it to take a break all you want, and it just won't quit. It keeps going and going and going. That's the nice thing about belonging to the Bit Club. You pay once, you recover the cost of your machines, and it continues to provide you with Bitcoin for the rest of your life. The system is automatically designed to upgrade, and there's no reason why you got your cost back. Why not buy another machine? Then that one you recover the cost and buy another one, and then buy another one, then buy another one. See, that's what you do. That's what you do through the partial share program. And it's phenomenal because you're not going to get into those situations where you're going to feel like you have to sell it. And you're also not going to get in the situation where you feel like you can't sell it, because you can't get any more. It's the best of both worlds. All right, so I'm going to prove to you that it's going to go up in value. And in 2014, Amazon did $88.9 billion worth of sales. That 3% transaction fee turned out to be $2.6 billion. Now, all they got to do is wipe out the cards and use the coin, and they more than double their net profit. Plus, they could reduce the prices on some of their stuff. So they're going to do it. They're already doing it. That $89 billion, when it starts running through the network, is going to increase the price of the coin by $6,300. If it's $9,000 now, that's going to be a $15,000 coin, just like that. Also, the $600 billion I was talking about, that's the one that generated the $54 billion in fees. Okay, the charges are up 20% because it's a cross-border item. It could be business, it could be family related, you could be buying something. It doesn't really matter. The point is, it's expensive to go across borders. That $600 billion running through the network will bump that price up by 42.8. Now you're a $50,000 coin. You're over that. Isn't that amazing? Just with those two changes. I mean, how many people can imagine a $50,000 coin in their pocket? Well, add gasoline in, $234 billion, right? That adds $34,400. Now you got a $75,000 coin. Yeah. It's over 75, really. You're pushing 100. So then when you add in all the gambling stuff that goes on out there, and when you start doing the games and buying things here and there on these games, look at all these stuff games, Yoville, Farmville, and all those. They all sell all kinds of digital products, right? They're not real. They're in the computer. Look at all these companies here that we haven't even talked about that are going to be joining us, getting their money through the Bitcoin system because it works better. It's more functional. It's a newer technology, and it's going to develop rapidly in areas, especially where there's no economy. We'll talk about that right now. There's 2.5 billion people on the planet that don't have any banking system or commerce. They are just the barter system. And it's all runs through your phone. You don't need a computer. You don't need a tablet. They all have phones. So now a person can actually take and receive some kind of funding through the Bitcoin process. What do you think the coin's going to be worth at that point? I mean, that's a lot of people, a lot of funding. Plus, the countries themselves that are emerging or have low GDP love this because their GDP numbers are already starting to go up, which improves the economy and life for everybody. And the Western countries are the ones that are saying, no, we can't do that. We got to control it. You can't take that over there. It's too bad because the other countries are going to stick their finger up in the air and say, nah, 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 nah. We got your boys. Because all the guys over here that get a hard time that are using crypto, the developers, the blockchain people, the programmers, they're going to move to these other countries that want them. They're not going to stick around with the countries that don't want them. They can't control it. Perfect. We have our own money. So we have financial freedom. That's fantastic. Look at all the names on here. They're all banks. These are the guys that are actually really pushing everything, because they've been controlling our financial future for a long time because they had a control of the money. They don't have control of the money anymore. Here's how the whole system kind of works. You have the software companies over here, which work with the hardware companies, and that produces the mining. Antpool, Legis, BTX, Bitfury, BitClub. Now, once you got the mining and the coins come out, you got to put them in a custodial area. You either keep them in the BitClub or you put them in a custodian company. And they, again, protect your coins while they're online. Now, if you want to exchange, if you want to buy and sell, you want to do some trading, this is where you do that, the exchanges. And then there are all these ancillary companies out there that are going to provide goods and services to people who have coins. That's what you can't really see here. Overseas, it's amazing. Japan, you know, they've already turned this thing into a currency. 260,000 merchants on the first day in July of 2017 applied to be able to take cryptocurrency in their businesses. That's just grown. Australia's coming on board. Australia takes it. I mean, Switzerland takes it for payment of taxes and services. A lot of the towns and counties do. You have Ernst & Ernst, the large accounting firm over there, taking it for fees. You have the Scandinavian countries coming on board. They're all doing the same thing. You're talking about 1 billion people roughly and a $1 trillion economy over there. You can't see that right now, but you need to get into the program and get coins now. You can mine whole coins now. You're not going to be able to get that in the future. You're only going to be able to get microbits of it. So get them while you can. If you're not pretty rich within the next 3 years, you probably missed it. So get in and get big. All right, it's just so easy because all you got to do is use your phone now. It works fine for everything that you want to do, which leads us to our CoinPay system. BitClub has a technology called CoinPay. It's a merchant settlement system. People who have coins want to use their coins, and so this is a way to do this safely. Now, the buyer pays with the coin directly to the merchant. Instant settlement, no chargebacks, no banks. It just goes boom, it's done. A merchant generates a QR code. Your Bitcoin wallet reads the QR code and sends payment directly to that address. Done deal. What's cool about this, max cost to the merchants only 1%. There's no chargebacks, there's no 30-day settlement problems, there's no arguments over who did what or who they should pay or not. You can listen to the stories yourself. If you're in business, you know what that's like dealing with those banks. Well, that's going to be gone. And this CoinPay system is something where we have shares that we're giving away to those who take the founder pools. Okay, we think that's going to be bigger than the blockchain, the BitClub itself. Now, it takes $99 to get your membership. That's a one-time membership. It is a private club. And then you decide what pool you want to buy. You can get the founder pool, the $3,500 founder pool. That's mainly the pool that we have. But you can buy it in pieces. You can get it 500, 1,000, 2,000, or you can start with 1,000 and go to the 500 and then come up to the 2,000. Whenever you get $3,500 worth of the pools, you then become what's considered a founder, and you are eligible for the founder bonuses. And as I said, right now, 1,000 shares of the CoinPay company are given to you. So when they sell it in the future for a multi-billion-dollar sale, you can either sell your shares or you'll own shares in the new company. Okay, one more thing I want to show you before we get too far here. I want to show you what it looks like when those things kind of pancake on the partial shares. So this is a founder position. It was started in June of 2017. And you can see here that we started with 2 shares of a pool. 3,500 times 2 is $7,000, approximately which it took to get this. And then it began buying partial shares, and it accelerates over time. You see, it started June 9th, and it took 20 days to get our first partial share. Each partial share has 1,000 days of mining with it. So after that, from the 29th to the 11th, it took about 10 or 11 days. And then from the 11th to the 26th, it took about 14 days, and then done to 5 days, 4 days. It just varies all the time. There's no rhyme or reason as to how it works. But the point is we got all these partial shares. And as long as there's one partial share in the account, it will continue to mine for 1,000 days. That's how we get the perpetuity. Now, we've got 2 shares here when we started, but there's 4 shares in the account. What happened? All the partial shares. So if this was $7,000 and now we have 4 at $7,000, was there any increase in value there? Well, sure there was. In other words, we got all our value back for the first 2 that we paid in, and then it was pure profit, and we bought partial shares with it. So now we have 4 partial shares. That's in every single pool, happens simultaneously. Okay? All right, let's open it up for questions and see if anybody has anything that they want to say or talk about. Otherwise, we'll get on with our evening.
Oh, that was exciting. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the CoinPay a little bit more. That's so exciting. That's what really piqued my interest when we first heard about that. That's been over a year ago now when it started, when Andy told us about that.
Oh, more than a year and a half ago, because we
Yeah,
were
yeah,
waiting and waiting to hear more about it, and we were
yeah.
still floundering out there in Bitcoin world and not
but
going anywhere.
but he mentioned this and said, "You let us know when that starts because that's what really got me interested
Yeah, but tell
in
them
what
why
we're
you
doing."
were so interested in it.
Well,
What?
because I was a business owner, and you have all those high fees from Mastercard, Visa, all of the above, and with this, it's just 1% straight across the board. And if you sign up a business, you get 0.5% of all the business that they do. So, if you're a business owner, excuse me, sign yourself up as a member right now. And then when CoinPay goes live, sign your business up, and then you get that 0.5% back to you. You know, because that's a little
Well,
bonus
it's even better. Go to all your competitors, sign them up, make them your partners.
there.
Now you get a half
Absolutely.
a percent of all of their business.
Hey, guess what? And if you sign your
What?
employees up, this is what I get excited about thinking about too. You sign all your employees up, and you have some employees that leave. It's okay because you're going to make money off of them for the rest of your life. Even if they, think about all the training you had to give to them and time and all that, and then they just go and leave you or whatever, or you have to fire them or whatever, and it's good for overhead. Start yourself up an account for just your overhead. Let your overhead start paying for itself. Christmas bonuses, all that fun stuff and medical stuff for your employees that you can't really afford to give them. Just sign up an account with them for them, and what a great incentive. But what a great incentive to come in now as a member and then sign yourself up, your own business. Woohoo! I'm excited. Sign me up again, John.
Well, we have been signing ourselves up, as you
Let's
well
do
know.
this.
We're
Yes,
doing
we
very well.
how about some questions? We have a lot of people here. Let's have some questions or
You know,
comments.
there's another thing too. A lot of people out there are hurting and they're not making a lot of money and they complain a little bit. I've heard them say, geez, I wish somebody would just give me a chance and pay me what I'm worth. And I always said, well, are you making any money? No, that's what you're worth. Well, now you don't have an excuse because you can sign up with this program,
Oh, the sky's the limit.
start your mining,
Yep.
and if you spread the word and tell people about it, there's no limit to the amount of funding and money that you can create. So if you want to get paid what you really think you are, put yourself on the spot and join and see how big you can build it, and then we'll compare stacks. How
Yeah,
about
that's
that?
just the beauty. Everybody has a fair chance here. Everybody. And it doesn't have any borders. That's what I like. Plus, you are always in control. There's nothing out there like this that you can put in a fee one time, buy your pool, and never
It
have to
pays you
come out of your
forever.
pocket ever again. So, yeah,
Well, it
this
starts
is
putting it back in your pocket. That's the problem with it.
that's the problem with it.
Get
I
those
like that.
bitcoins out of my
I
pocket.
like that problem. That's a good problem to have. All right, we have Mr. Steve. How are you doing tonight, Steve? Oops, did I?
I'm doing great, Kathy. Thanks.
Great.
I tell you what, one thing I love about this program, I sell life insurance. With this program here, you have nobody that quits. You have nobody who can't afford it, no chargebacks. Um, you don't have no licensing. Like with life insurance, like I'm stuck with one territory. This thing here, it's global,
Exactly. Hmm.
and you're not. It's truly unlimited with this thing here. With the life insurance, like I was talking with somebody today in the office. I was trying to write in his Dodge Viper. He's been at it for 20 years, and he's still going out there day after day trying to sell life insurance, even though he's got a Dodge Viper. With this thing here, you really do have true financial freedom.
The world is your oyster. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, every time you build something, you put effort towards it, you never lose it,
No, you don't have
right?
any auto
Y-
ships or monthly
You
fees
know,
or any of
you,
that.
you have to, an agent has to look at his lapse rate.
Don't
Some
have to do
lapse
your
rates
quota.
run 30%. Well, not so much a quota, but they like you to set quotas. But the lapse rate's the problem because you have to sell 10 times more business just to offset the lapse rate. See,
Yep.
there's no attrition rate here. Nobody ever quits.
Nope. And with
Yep.
life insurance, it's so competitive. This thing is there's no competition here whatsoever. I mean, it's It's awesome.
Actually, what you should do is combine this to make the premium payments for their life insurance policy. That way they would never lapse.
Yeah, they pay for themselves. There's so much you can do with this. It's just mind-blowing.
And if you
Yep.
get them in at enough, you can actually pay for the premium and get 2 or 3 times back what you paid into the life insurance policy tax-free down the road with this funding it.
Yes.
That's a neat idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been talking to a lot of people in the office about this program too. I'm like, just imagine like in a year, just imagine like a life insurance policy in a year, it doubles. That's exactly what it does here. It doubles.
It buys a new auto ship every single year. That's what you kind of, if you're going to talk about network marketing, this would be considering like you're buying a new little policy every year. So now you get 2 policies on the books. A year later, it'd be 3 policies on the books. Pretty soon you got the whole family. Then you got the whole cousins and uncles and aunts and everybody else on.
And we got Richard up here saying, ka-ching. Absolutely. I like that word, ka-ching.
Life insurance agents have no idea how wonderful this is. And one of the things that I used to do was I used to show people how to use their life insurance to pay for all their health insurance. So I would develop a premium stream that would recover the cost of their life insurance plus the cost of their health insurance over a 10-year period. So at the end of those 10 years, we'd hand them the cash back. Okay. You can do the same thing right here with this, only it's even better and easier.
Yes,
And it just keeps paying you every year what you expected.
Whether you want it to or not. Yep, those machines just keep running.
You can't get rid of it.
All right. Do we have anybody else that has any questions or comments?
I guess they're just stunned.
Okay, so Michael Seeley usually does a training Tuesdays after our presentation here, and he is with the Angels tonight, the baseball people. And I said it wrong, didn't I? Angels?
Yeah, I think it is the Angels, but I don't follow baseball, so I have no clue. It's Big A, whatever the Big A
I'm in
is.
Colorado. I know the Rockies. That's it.
Okay.
Anyway, so what are we going to do following this, John?
I don't have really a lot to do on the trainings.
Well, should we just open it up for questions and answers on those trainings and let this dismiss this one and come back in?
I think I want to give a little description of how this thing really generates funding and why it works so well.
Okay.
I might do that. I just can't draw. I don't have a way to draw. That's all.
Well, let's go ahead and dismiss our guests, and please get back with the person that invited you here tonight, and they can answer more questions. We do this webinar again Friday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific time. So if you'd like to come back or bring some guests, have more questions, feel free to do so. And we'll reconvene in what, 5 minutes? Would that be good?
Top of the hour.
Top of the hour, 10 minutes. All right.
Yeah, we'll start at the top of the hour, but you're probably going to have it back open in a couple of minutes.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right.
So thank you for coming, and have a really great evening. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.